So you're thinking of moving to Savannah, Georgia? Then this video is for you. Today we're going to take a look at the pros and cons of new construction, specifically in the Savannah area. So I know it's different for every area, so keep that in mind. Make sure you stick around to the very end. I'm going to go over some pro tips that you are definitely not going to miss. All right, let's get right to it. If this is your first time visiting our channel, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and tap that bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about what's going on in the Savannah market. I'm Jen Parmalee with Cozy Realty Group. Every day we get calls from people just like you, so whether you're moving here in 9 days or 9 months, please feel free to reach out to us. All of our information is in the description box below. We would love to help make your move to Savannah an easy one. So for pros for new construction, one of the big ones is going to be energy efficiency. So obviously they're going to have all the latest appliances, windows, HVAC, that type of thing. And so your utility bill is probably going to be significantly less than if you were going with an older home. Second pro is going to be low maintenance. So everything's going to be brand new. You should really not have hardly anything for maintenance, just upkeep. Everything is going to be under warranty either from the builder or the manufacturer for quite some time. So it should be relatively stress-free. And then going along with that, number 3 would be that it is turnkey. You don't have to do any work when you move in. So you know that it's just, bring yourself, your stuff, and you're good to go. Number 4 is modern features. So if you like that brand new aesthetic, the modern aesthetic, and the layout with the open floor plan, this is what you're gonna get right away. You're not gonna have to do any remodeling or any updates. You're gonna have those modern features and layout right from the get-go. And last but not least, builders offer amazing incentives. So they usually offer a good chunk of change towards your closing costs. They might even offer special rates. That's usually the best way to get them, is to check with the different builders. Also, if they have quick move-in ready homes, which they usually have a handful at a time, they want to move those quickly. They're on a timeline and they have holding costs. And so those will usually get heavily discounted. So that is a great way to pick up some savings and be able to move in fast too. All right, so let's talk about the cons. First con is smaller lots. So they are obviously trying to maximize the space in the development, so they tend to have smaller lots. Past developments there was more land available, and so those do tend to be, the older ones tend to be larger, but they're still decent sized lots. I mean, it depends on what builder you go with, but they're usually around 0.2 acres in this area. All right, con number 2 is limited negotiations. So with builders, they don't haggle on price. The price is what it is for the most part. But that being said, some people like that. So if haggling stresses you out and you don't want to have to deal with that and you just want to know what the price is going to be, then that actually might be a positive for you. Con number 3 is no due diligence period. So with a resale home, you would normally have that due diligence inspection period at the very beginning, which is about 7 to 10 days, where you can get your deposit back if something comes up in the inspection, or really you can change your mind for any reason and you'll still get that deposit back. With new construction, since it's a little bit different and there's no need for inspections like that, really once you make that deposit, then there's no getting it back unless there's an issue with the loan, and you want to make sure you have a finance contingency in place. So you just want to keep that in mind. And one of the biggest cons that you want to understand is timeline. So this is not the case if you're looking at one of the quick move-in ready homes. Those are generally pretty much on time. But if you are looking at building from the ground up, then you want to keep in mind things like weather, the supply chain, even staffing, those can all cause delays. So you just want to plan ahead. If you're in a situation where you're selling your home somewhere else, and if your new construction is delayed, then you might be homeless for a little while. You might want to at least figure out what's the cost of renting in between, and maybe putting your stuff in storage, and just have a contingency plan in place, because that can happen. All right, now for our pro tips. All right, pro tip number 1 is make sure you have your own agent. So a lot of people think they can just go to the builder, and to use the builder's agent is just fine. Remember, the builder's agent works for the builder. They do not work for you. So they are representing the builder's best interest and not yours. You really want to make sure that you have somebody who's going to have your back and be your advocate through the whole process. It really doesn't cost you anything, because the builders, at least here, so they all upfront offer a commission to pay the buyer's agent. So they're going to cover that cost for you anyways, so just don't miss out on making sure you have your own representation. Pro tip number 2, budget for upgrades. So if you're building from the ground up, that can get quite costly. So make a list, think of what is really important to you, and sit down, have a consultation with the builder and your agent, and go through what the cost of those upgrades is going to be. Just make sure you know up front, so there's no surprises later on. Pro tip number 3 is get a home inspection. So the builder's going to do their own inspection, but sometimes things are missed. You want to get your own home inspection still. There's been many surprises that we have found on those before, and those are things that you're going to want to know before the home closes, and that you're going to want to ask the builder to address ahead of time. So generally you're going to do what's called a blue tape walkthrough about a week before you close on the home, and you'll be able to go through and mark any imperfections that you want the builder to fix. This is generally paint and drywall, but it's also anything that's obvious that they missed or that needs correcting. It is your one shot to ask the builder to fix things before closing. So I highly recommend a day or two before that walkthrough, you have your own inspector go through and take a look at the property. That way, anything on the inspection report, if it comes up and it needs addressing, you can bring it to the builder's attention at that time. And then what they'll do is they'll put it on a punch list and make sure those items are done before closing, and you will have a final walkthrough before closing to make sure those were completed. So that is a definite recommendation to do that. It costs you usually a few $100s, but it's totally worth it, because if something big gets missed, it could cost you a lot more and be very inconvenient. All right, and pro tip number 4 is make sure that you get a copy of your HOA rules and understand the fees up front. You don't want there to be any surprises. Like I said, I'm not a fan of surprises. I want my clients all to know up front what is going on, and so that way you'll know what the rules are. You won't be blindsided by, oh, I'm not allowed to paint my door hot pink or something like that. Or, you might have to have your fence be a certain type. Also, you want to just make sure you understand what those fees are, so that you're not hit with a couple $1,000s for initial transfer fee or the initial buy-in fee, and then your monthly HOA dues. You want to understand what all of those look like up front. Oh, I'm going to throw a bonus pro tip in there. So builders don't generally haggle, but sometimes you can get things like blinds or extra appliances thrown in. So those are some things that you might be able to get thrown in as extras. All right, guys. Well, I think that's everything that you need to know about new construction pros and cons for the Savannah area. If you have any specific questions, please drop them in the comment section below. And I really hope you guys got some value out of watching this video. I thank you so much for watching, and as always, make sure you click that subscribe button, tap the bell for notifications if you want to keep up to date on everything that's going on in the Savannah market. And please reach out to our team if you are thinking of moving here, whether it's in 9 days or 9 months. We would be happy to help make your move to Savannah an easy one. All right, guys, until next time, I'll see you around town. Oh, before I go, I just want to let you know The next couple episodes that are going to be coming up are going to be new construction communities and model home tours for some of Savannah's top builders. So you are definitely not going to want to miss that. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Happy New Year's.